friends, welcome back to the Bible Project Podcast, and we're continuing together working through this story of this tale of the two twins, Esau and Jacob. And I just begin today. Let's pick up the text straight away in Genesis chapter 27, verse 1, which tells us this. When Isaac was old and his eyes were so weak that he could no longer see, he called for Esau, his older son, and said to him, "My son." "Here I am," he answered. Isaac said, "I am now an old man and don't know the day of my death. Now then, get your equipment, your quiver and your bow, and go out in the open country to hunt some wild game for me. Prepare for me the kind of tasty food I like and bring it to me to eat, so that I may then give you my blessing before I die." Now remember, following their birth, God had said the older Esau would serve the younger Jacob. Okay, let's just back up a second into this text to add a few details. Verse 1 tells us Isaac was old. Now we don't exactly know how old he was. I've read several Bible commentaries, experts who say they've tried to work out the age, and it varies a bit, but all of them agree that he is over 100 years old. Now, I'm not sure how they calculated that exactly, but at any rate, what we can be sure of is he's very old man, even by that day's standards, and that he has a problem in respect of the vision in his eyes. He's an old man, and it tells us that his eyes are dim. And the fact that he can't see properly is quite important in this narrative, I think. So he calls Esau and he says, "I want you to go out, hunt, and then fix my favourite meal for you with what you catch, in order that I can give you a blessing." Now we know from what had been said prior to this that Isaac knew that he was meant to actually bless Jacob the younger, not Esau. That is clearly stated. He clearly knew that that was what he was supposed to do. Back in chapter 25, verse 23, it's declared in no uncertain terms. But now he is clearly, at some level, stepping outside the will of God by saying he's going to bless Esau. So far in this section, I've introduced you to these two characters. The first was Esau, and what did he do? Well, remember, we were told he disobeyed God because he married two women instead of one, and he married unbelievers. He married Hittites. And now Isaac, we've looked at him. What did he do? Well, he knowingly, deliberately disobeyed God's command, which was to bless Jacob and not Esau. And this is the point where we get introduced to a third character in this story, and that is Isaac's wife, Rebekah. Picking up at verse 5, it tells us, "Now Rebekah was listening as Isaac spoke to his son Esau. When Esau left for the open country to hunt game and bring it back, Rebekah said to her son Jacob, 'Look, I overheard your father say to your brother Esau, bring me some game and prepare me some tasty food to eat, so that I may give you my blessing in the presence of the Lord before I die. Now, my son, listen carefully and do what I tell you. Go out to the flock and bring me 2 choice young goats, so I can prepare some tasty food for your father, just the way he likes it. Then take it to your father to eat, so that he may give you his blessing before he dies." Okay, so here we see Rebekah coming up with a scheme. And here we've got this mother of these 2 sons, in effect practicing a deception on her own husband, so that her favourite of the 2 children would be the one to get the blessing. Now here's the problem. She knows that God intended for Jacob to get that blessing anyway. That's clear. So for her to scheme in this way, rather than just either go and talk to Isaac or let the Lord work it out, shows a real lack of faith on her part. She is saying, I know what God has said, but I'm going to try and make sure this happens and get it done my way. Now, have we heard this type of thing before? Have we seen this type of attitude before? Who else do you remember did something like that? Well, just a few chapters back, remember Sarah, Abraham's wife? Remember her? God had told Abraham, I'm going to give you a son through your wife, through you and your wife Sarah. But Sarah, thinking because she was way past childbearing age, thought there's no chance of me getting pregnant here. But I'll make this happen, and I'll do it because I know I've got a handmaid and we can use her to manipulate this situation. So Sarah then went and told Abraham to go and sleep with Hagar, the maidservant. So she was also trying to bring about what she thought was God's will, but in stark contrast, she's going about it in her own way rather than what God said he was going to do. The exact same thing is going on here. Rebecca is saying, I'm going to fix this so that Jacob gets the blessing and it works out the way I want it, if truth be told. All right, let's pick up the story in verse 11. Jacob said to Rebekah, his mother, but my brother Esau is a hairy man, while I have smooth skin. What if my father touches me? I would appear to be tricking him and would bring down a curse on myself rather than a blessing. His mother said to him, my son, let the curse fall on me. Just do what I say and go and get them for me. So he went and he got them and he brought them to his mother, and she prepared some tasty food just the way his father liked it. So we see Jacob starting to doubt that this plan, this scheme is going to work at all, just because the father can't see. Don't worry about that, she says. I'll take care of it. Your job is just to go out and gather up the food. We've got to get this done, and we've got to get it done quickly, seems to me the attitude that Rebecca's taking. So he does what his mother says. And we shall look at how Rebecca develops that scheme in the following verses. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks for joining me. We'll continue with this story right back here tomorrow. I'd like to remind you that there's always a transcript of each of these podcasts contained within the episode notes of any audio version of the episode. But if you happen to be watching a video version, there should be a link through there to the audio version, which always has an episode notes page, which not only contains a transcript, but there's links to all the ways that you can connect with my various ministries, as well as a place where you can decide to become a patron and support this ministry as well. But other than that, that's it for today. I do hope you'll join back with me again tomorrow. Thanks so much for supporting me in this work and joining me on this amazing journey together. And let's pray that I see you back here very soon on the Bible Project Daily Podcast. Bye-bye for now.